Nedra and Scott, congratulations on over 50 years of marriage. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You did it, Nedra.
We did it.
We did it.
Is it really half a century? I'm exhausted.
You did pretty well for yourself here, Scott, of course. She's a lovely lady. You met, she was a Ronette. You were captivated right from the beginning, right?
Actually, you met me at 16, before all the Be My Baby. So.
And she became my baby. When she was a Ronette, million-selling records, and run around the United States with the Beatles, and they go to England, and the Beatles throw a big party for her. All this stuff around Nedra, but number one, she wanted to be a wife and a mother.
And a grandmother, when I was young.
Yeah, and a grandmother. This was where her heart was. So her heart is for God, the Lord, and her husband and her children. She hit the ground running as a mother.
So you get married, and 50 years ago, an interracial marriage, that must have been a really tough start.
We were talking about that last night. Because of being in New York, we did not have what was going on around the country because it was New York. And so New York was just maybe with segregation and stuff like that, maybe behind the scene. It wasn't up front. Later on, when we came to Virginia here, then we saw what the racial sides of things in Virginia. Just people wanting to know, what was I? And I'd go, what do you mean? What am I, you know?
We were doing some TV, and to Pat Robertson's credit, I was really accosted by some people, so-called Christians, who wanted to know, same thing, where's she from, interracial marriage, etc. And there were people who did not want to support the fledgling CBN at that time because of our marriage. But Pat stood with us and said, you know, it's not the money's not the issue. And these two are married before God, and that's that. And so we had that kind of support, you know?
Did these experiences just bring you two closer together, or did it create tension with you?
If anything, it was us against the world. We are who we are, and we're sticking together. And actually, when we started to pray together was on our honeymoon, which we really didn't know to do that so much. We had come to the Lord and had a real experience with Jesus.
Together?
Together.
What was that experience?
I was from Scotland. My dad was in ministry. I'd given my life to the Lord when I was 5. Came to America when I was 10. But the challenges of a new culture and a number of other things, I walked away from the Lord for a long time. So when I was in New York, I wasn't really walking with the Lord. So I came back to the Lord in a small church outside Hagerstown, Maryland, where my mom lived, where I'd lived. And I came down to visit her with Nedra, and Mom wanted me to go to church. I went to church, but I stood in the parking lot and got high first on grass. Weed, marijuana. It's legal in California, you know. But anyway, I got high and went to the church. And I always say this, I sat in the way in the back where the Lord couldn't see us. But in the middle of this church service, someone had a word. There were 2 people there that the Lord was calling and say, you know, come back to me, I'll take your cares, your worries, put them on me.
So a foundation of your marriage has been praying together.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Right, every day.
After we got married, Pastor Vic gave us a gift of a small little
There
Bible.
it is. This is it. It's called Daily Light. And look, I mean, it's kind of beat up, you know.
50 years.
That's 50
Yeah,
years
look a
worth
little
of
bit
reading.
rough.
It needs any of you binding people out there who like to help. So every day, from day one, literally on our honeymoon, we start reading this.
So when we're together, and if we're separate from each other, then I have one and he'll have another version. Read the word, and we'll ask each other, what did you get out of that? Not just read it to read it, but say, what here is speaking to you?
So your marriage would not be what it is without God as the foundation.
No way.
No way.
No way.
I see myself as totally as a daughter of the King. That's how I see myself. So I let my mouth be that. The way I carry myself be that. I'm a daughter of the King.
Sometimes it's hard to live with a princess.
Yeah, well, your father-in-law's God. I mean, take that one on.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
God is there. I have told God, I told God on him. I said, God, he's not listening. You have to speak to him. And guess what? God spoke to him. There are things that would come that would want to tear us apart because of my opinion, his opinion, of the way we were going, how we were going to go. But we watched every time how God caused us to bow our knees to each other and to him.
First, there's a Bible verse, don't let the sun go down on your wrath, so don't let the sun go down on your anger. We really adhered to that because the issues will come up, family issues, they'll come up. Money, the pressure of money, the children, all that stuff. Let's not go to sleep with that kind of anger. There were two instances, I think I remember, where we were talking about separating. It was that tenuous a situation, very volatile, and made a decision to say, we don't want to embarrass God. We don't want to embarrass Jesus. We can't do this. So then we would submit to the Lord prayerfully, and then to each other. Forgive me, you forgive me, I forgive you. And back to the Word again, praying, so forth, and work it through.
Getting your own pride out of the way.
Oh, yeah. You talk about people that use, sounds real spiritual, die to self. Well, that means, Jesus said, you want to follow me, first thing you got to do is die. Simple. Deny yourself, pick up your cross daily, and follow. That's the prerequisite. At stage 4 cancer back here in my mouth. And I've been through other bouts with cancer. And she was Florence Nightingale plus, Great nurse. I don't remember a lot of it because I was out of it. And I didn't even know if I was going to make it. I wasn't even sure about that. But she was there. She slept in the hospital next to me and all the time. And I was totally dependent upon her. And she was there.
I told Jesus, guess what? This Florence Nightingale is so tired. I had never been that tired in my life that I honestly said to God, I have 10 minutes for you. That's all I have left is 10 minutes. And I walked from his side of the bed, feeding him with tube in his stomach, to coming around the bed, and the Lord healed me and gave me strength like I had been on vacation. And I'm going, how did this happen? When I just said, and I had never said before, I have 10 minutes. That's all I have.
People hear that word cancer, they're terrified, right? And God's spoken to you something about that word.
The big C is not cancer, it's Christ. The big C is not cancer, it's the cross. The big C is Calvary. The big C is commitment, it's covenant. So it's not cancer. When the Lord's talking to Jeremiah, he said, I took you into a desert. Look at all the times that God was quiet. He didn't answer. That's where trust comes in. It's where faith comes in. And you have to hold to that. You must. That's why it's back to the Word.
One holds up the other when the other's down. That's how it works. So we've been faithful to each other because of having God. Bigger than us. It's bigger than us.